The geological timeline begins 6.6 million years ago, marking the start of the late Miocene epoch. This period sets the stage for significant environmental changes. The late Miocene epoch is a segment of the broader Neogene period. Environmental shifts during this epoch influenced the evolution and distribution of species. Understanding this timeline provides context for studying the Earth's dynamic history. Geological timelines are essential tools for understanding Earth's past. Global climate patterns are visualized through temperature distributions across the Earth. Major weather systems significantly influence global climate dynamics. Climate shifts can lead to biome transitions, such as forests evolving into grasslands. Temperature variations are a key driver in the transition from forests to grasslands. Prevailing climate patterns dictate the distribution of major biomes across the Earth. The interplay of temperature and weather systems shapes long-term climate trends. The late Miocene forest was characterized by a diverse range of tree species. This environment supported a variety of forest-dwelling animals. The flora and fauna of the late Miocene are distinct from modern ecosystems. The dense woodland provided habitats and resources for numerous species. Grassland expansion involves the gradual encroachment of grasslands into forested areas. This transition leads to the fragmentation of forest habitats, reducing the size and connectivity of forested areas. Habitat fragmentation can isolate plant and animal populations, impacting biodiversity and ecosystem health. Changing landscapes alter ecological dynamics, affecting species distribution and ecosystem services. Decreasing rainfall is a key climate driver behind the expansion of grasslands. Increasing temperatures also contribute significantly to grassland expansion. The combined effect of reduced rainfall and higher temperatures promotes grassland ecosystems. Atmospheric simulations accurately model the impact of climate change on grassland distribution. Herbivorous animals possess specific adaptations that enable them to thrive on grasses. High-crowned teeth are an adaptation that allows herbivores to effectively grind tough plant material. Specialized digestive systems enable herbivores to efficiently extract nutrients from grasses. Ruminant digestive systems involve multiple stomach chambers for enhanced grass fermentation. The fermentation process in the digestive system breaks down cellulose, releasing nutrients. These adaptations allow herbivores to access a plentiful food source in grassland ecosystems. Carnivorous animals adapt to open grasslands by developing new hunting strategies. Increased speed is a crucial adaptation for carnivores chasing prey in open environments. Endurance allows predators to pursue prey over long distances in open grasslands. Open grasslands favor carnivores with adaptations for long-distance pursuit. Hunting strategies evolve in response to the challenges of open grassland environments. Deep root systems are a key adaptation that allows grasses to access water and nutrients from deeper soil layers. Silica-rich leaves provide grasses with structural support and deter herbivores, enhancing their survival against grazing. These adaptations contribute to the resilience of grasses in both grazing and drought conditions. The ability to withstand grazing and drought allows grasses to thrive in diverse environments. The decline of forest-dependent species is correlated with the shrinking of their habitats. Grassland expansion contributes to the loss of forest habitats, impacting biodiversity. Habitat loss disrupts the ecological balance, leading to a decrease in forest animal populations. Deforestation reduces the availability of food and shelter for forest-dependent species. The fragmentation of forest habitats isolates animal populations, hindering their ability to thrive. Conservation efforts are crucial to protect forest habitats and preserve biodiversity. Grassland-adapted species exhibit flourishing populations. Increased population sizes correspond to expanded species ranges. Flourishing populations indicate successful adaptation to the grassland environment. Population growth is a key indicator of a species' health and resilience. Expanded ranges demonstrate a species' ability to thrive in diverse grassland habitats. Species adaptation and range expansion contribute to overall grassland ecosystem health. Periodic fires play a vital role in grassland ecosystems. Fire prevents the encroachment of trees and shrubs, maintaining open grassland. Controlled burns simulate natural fire cycles, promoting biodiversity. Fire removes dead vegetation, releasing nutrients back into the soil. Grassland vegetation significantly influences soil composition through nutrient cycling. Grasses enhance soil fertility by contributing organic matter during decomposition. Root systems of grasses improve soil structure, increasing water infiltration and aeration. Nutrient cycling in grasslands involves the uptake of nutrients by plants and their return to the soil. The presence of grassland vegetation promotes a balanced soil ecosystem. Natural selection is the process where environmental factors favor individuals with advantageous traits. Individuals with traits better suited to the environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. Advantageous traits become more common in subsequent generations through inheritance. Environmental pressures drive the selection of specific traits that enhance survival. Traits suited to grassland survival increase an individual's fitness. Natural selection results in populations that are better adapted to their environment. Animal migration patterns are driven by species seeking suitable environments for survival. Changing habitats prompt species to migrate, resulting in range shifts. Migration is a response to environmental changes, ensuring species find necessary resources. Species migration leads to shifts in geographical distribution. Suitable environments are critical for species survival, prompting migration to new habitats. Interspecies competition arises when different species vie for the same limited resources. Resource scarcity intensifies the struggle for survival in a changing environment. Competition can lead to niche differentiation, where species evolve to utilize different resources. The outcome of interspecies competition influences population dynamics and community structure. Limited resources, such as food, water, and territory, drive competitive interactions. The struggle for survival shapes the ecological landscape through competitive exclusion or coexistence. Paleontological studies provide fossil evidence for reconstructing past environments. Fossils reveal adaptations of species to their historical environments. The geological context of fossils is crucial for dating and environmental interpretation. Fossil analysis helps determine evolutionary relationships between extinct and extant species. Comparative anatomy of fossils provides insights into functional morphology and behavior. Tooth structure varies significantly between forest-dwelling and grassland-dwelling animals. These structural differences reflect dietary adaptations to their respective environments. Forest-dwelling animals typically have teeth adapted for browsing on leaves and softer vegetation. Grassland-dwelling animals possess teeth designed for grinding tough grasses and abrasive plant material. Comparing tooth morphology reveals evolutionary strategies for efficient food processing. Skeletal adaptations reflect evolutionary pressures for specific modes of locomotion. Limb structure is a key skeletal adaptation that varies significantly between running and climbing animals. Animals adapted for running on grasslands typically possess elongated limbs for increased stride length and speed. Animals adapted for climbing in forests often have shorter, more robust limbs with flexible joints for maneuverability and grip. Herbivores possess digestive systems adapted to their specific diets, such as grasses or forest vegetation. Digestive systems of grass-adapted herbivores often feature specialized structures for processing cellulose-rich plant matter. Forest vegetation-adapted herbivores may have digestive systems optimized for different types of plant fibers and nutrients. Gut microbes play a crucial role in the digestion of plant material in both grass and forest vegetation herbivores. Variations in gut microbiome composition influence the efficiency of nutrient extraction from different plant sources. Climate models are utilized to project future environmental changes. These projections help assess the potential impact on ecosystems. Climate models draw parallels with past environmental conditions to inform future predictions. Model outputs visualize potential future scenarios. Climate models integrate multiple environmental factors for comprehensive analysis. Deforestation significantly impacts forest ecosystems, leading to habitat destruction. Modern deforestation accelerates the conversion of forested areas into grasslands. The shift from forests to grasslands disrupts established ecological balances. Habitat loss due to deforestation reduces biodiversity and species survival rates. Deforestation contributes to soil erosion and decreased water retention within ecosystems. Conservation efforts focus on restoring degraded habitats to support biodiversity. Habitat restoration is crucial for preserving biodiversity in the face of environmental change. Restoration projects involve reintroducing native plant species to revitalize ecosystems. Re-establishing natural water cycles is a key component of habitat restoration. Monitoring and maintenance are essential for the long-term success of restoration efforts. Successful habitat restoration contributes to a more resilient and sustainable environment. Forests and grasslands provide essential ecosystem services that significantly contribute to human well-being. Forests offer services such as carbon sequestration, climate regulation, and biodiversity conservation. Grasslands contribute to soil stabilization, water filtration, and support for livestock and wildlife. The combined benefits of forests and grasslands are crucial for maintaining ecological balance and supporting sustainable livelihoods. Sustainable management practices are essential to ensure the continued provision of these vital ecosystem services. Human activities significantly alter landscapes through various forms of land use. Agriculture transforms natural landscapes into cultivated fields for food production. Urbanization leads to the expansion of cities and infrastructure, impacting surrounding ecosystems. Land use changes can result in habitat loss and fragmentation, affecting biodiversity. Sustainable practices aim to minimize human impact on ecosystems. Environmental stewardship involves responsible use and protection of the natural environment. Reducing pollution is a key component of sustainable environmental practices. Conservation efforts preserve biodiversity and maintain ecosystem health. Renewable energy sources offer a sustainable alternative to fossil fuels. Waste reduction and recycling contribute to a circular economy and minimize environmental impact. The current rate of biodiversity loss is alarmingly high, exceeding natural extinction rates. Accelerated extinction rates threaten ecosystem stability and essential ecological functions. Conservation efforts are crucial to mitigating biodiversity loss and preserving endangered species. Preventing further extinctions requires immediate and sustained global action. Species employ various adaptation strategies to cope with environmental changes. Adaptation strategies highlight the resilience of species in the face of adversity. These adaptations can include behavioral, physiological, or morphological changes. Such resilience ensures the survival and continuity of species under challenging conditions. Ecosystems exhibit interconnectedness, where elements are linked in complex relationships. Changes in one part of an ecosystem can trigger cascading effects throughout the entire system. These cascading effects demonstrate the delicate balance and sensitivity within ecological systems. Food webs illustrate the complex feeding relationships and energy flow within an ecosystem. Symbiotic relationships, such as mutualism and commensalism, further enhance ecosystem interconnectedness. Understanding ecosystem interconnectedness is crucial for effective conservation and management strategies. Environmental monitoring programs collect data to track ecosystem changes. Data collection informs conservation decisions by providing insights into environmental health. Various methods, including remote sensing and on-site sampling, are used for data collection. Collected data is analyzed to identify trends and patterns in environmental change. Ecosystem health is assessed using a range of indicators, such as biodiversity and pollution levels. Effective monitoring programs support sustainable resource management and conservation efforts. Remote sensing technologies, such as satellite imagery, are used to monitor environmental changes. Satellite imagery enables the monitoring of environmental changes over large areas. Remote sensing provides a comprehensive overview of ecological shifts and their impact on the environment. Data collected from satellite imagery aids in understanding and addressing environmental challenges. Genetic diversity is crucial for the health and resilience of populations. Genetic diversity enables populations to adapt to changing environmental conditions. Populations with low genetic diversity are more vulnerable to diseases and environmental changes. High genetic diversity increases the likelihood that some individuals will possess traits necessary for survival in altered environments. Maintaining genetic diversity is essential for long-term population health and evolutionary potential. Climate change mitigation requires reducing greenhouse gas emissions on a global scale. Transitioning to renewable energy sources is a key strategy for reducing carbon emissions. Improving energy efficiency in buildings and transportation can significantly lower energy consumption. Sustainable land use and reforestation efforts help absorb atmospheric carbon dioxide. International cooperation and policy frameworks are essential for coordinated climate action. Forests and grasslands play a significant role in carbon sequestration from the atmosphere. Carbon sequestration by these ecosystems aids in climate regulation. Trees absorb carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, storing carbon in their biomass and the soil. Grasslands store carbon primarily in the soil through root systems and decomposition. Sustainable management practices enhance carbon sequestration in forests and grasslands. Increasing carbon sequestration in these ecosystems can help mitigate climate change. Forests and grasslands significantly influence the water cycle by regulating rainfall patterns. Vegetation cover in forests and grasslands helps to prevent soil erosion, maintaining water quality. The root systems of trees and grasses enhance water infiltration into the soil, replenishing groundwater reserves. Forests and grasslands act as natural sponges, absorbing and slowly releasing water, reducing flood risks. Nutrient cycling involves the continuous movement of essential elements through an ecosystem. Decomposition is a crucial process where organic matter is broken down into simpler substances. Mineralization releases inorganic nutrients from organic matter during decomposition. Plants uptake these released nutrients from the soil through their roots. The cycle is completed as these nutrients are incorporated into plant biomass and eventually return to the soil through decomposition. Pollination is the transfer of pollen from the male part of a flower to the female part, enabling fertilization and reproduction. Insects and animals play a crucial role in pollination by carrying pollen between flowers. Bees are highly effective pollinators due to their fuzzy bodies, which easily collect and transfer pollen. Butterflies, birds, and bats also contribute to pollination, each adapted to specific types of flowers. Biodiversity is essential for maintaining effective pollination and ensuring plant reproduction. Seed dispersal mechanisms allow plants to colonize new areas. Seed dispersal is crucial for maintaining genetic diversity within plant populations. Wind dispersal, anemochory, involves lightweight seeds adapted for air travel. Animal dispersal, zoochory, involves seeds with hooks or edible fruits that attach to or are consumed by animals. Water dispersal, hydrochory, relies on seeds that can float and travel via water currents. Food webs illustrate the complex interactions between predators and prey within an ecosystem. Energy flows through ecosystems as predators consume prey, transferring energy from one trophic level to the next. Predator-prey relationships are a fundamental aspect of food web dynamics, influencing population sizes and ecosystem stability. The stability of a food web is dependent on the diversity and complexity of its interactions. Changes in predator or prey populations can have cascading effects throughout the entire food web. Trophic cascades illustrate how the removal of a keystone species can dramatically alter an ecosystem structure. Keystone species play a critical role in maintaining the stability and diversity of an ecosystem. The removal of a keystone species can lead to a trophic cascade, causing significant changes in population sizes and species distribution. Trophic cascades demonstrate the interconnectedness of species within an ecosystem. Ecosystem function, including nutrient cycling and energy flow, is significantly affected by trophic cascades. Understanding trophic cascades is crucial for effective conservation and management of ecosystems. Invasive species can significantly disrupt ecosystems by outcompeting native species. The introduction of invasive species can alter fundamental ecosystem processes. Native species often lack defenses against new predators or competitors introduced by invasive species. Changes in nutrient cycling and habitat structure are common consequences of invasive species. The dominance of invasive species can lead to a reduction in overall biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. Habitat fragmentation isolates wildlife populations, restricting movement and interaction. Reduced connectivity leads to decreased genetic diversity within isolated populations. Habitat fragmentation disrupts natural migration patterns and resource access for wildlife. The isolation of populations increases their vulnerability to local extinction events. Habitat corridors are crucial for maintaining connectivity between fragmented habitats. These corridors facilitate wildlife movement, allowing animals to access resources and mates. Connectivity through corridors supports gene flow and reduces the risk of local extinctions. Maintaining and restoring habitat corridors is essential for biodiversity conservation in fragmented landscapes. Habitat edges create altered microclimates compared to interior habitats. Edge effects increase species' vulnerability to disturbances. Habitat edges can lead to changes in species composition and abundance. Altered light levels are a key component of edge effects. Changes in wind exposure also characterize habitat edges. Buffer zones protect sensitive habitats from human disturbance. Buffer zones reduce edge effects, mitigating the impact of external activities. Maintaining biodiversity is a key function of buffer zones. The effectiveness of a buffer zone depends on its size and management strategy. Strategic placement of buffer zones enhances habitat connectivity. Restoration ecology focuses on returning degraded ecosystems to a more natural state. Active management is essential for facilitating ecosystem recovery. Ecosystem restoration involves re-establishing native plant communities. Soil stabilization is a critical component of ecosystem recovery. Restoration efforts aim to increase biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. Monitoring and adaptive management ensure long-term success of restoration projects. Ecological succession is the process by which ecosystems change over time. This process involves the colonization of new species and alteration of the environment. Early colonizers, such as lichens and mosses, prepare the ground for more complex plant life. Intermediate species, like grasses and shrubs, further modify the soil and attract new animal species. Eventually, a climax community, such as a forest, establishes a relatively stable ecosystem. Ecological succession demonstrates the dynamic nature of ecosystems and their capacity for change. Climax communities represent the final, stable stage of ecological succession in an ecosystem. These communities are characterized by a relatively constant species composition over time. Climax communities are well adapted to the prevailing environmental conditions. The biodiversity within a climax community contributes to its overall resilience and stability. Natural disturbances, such as fire, play a crucial role in shaping ecosystems. Floods are another form of natural disturbance that can reshape landscapes and ecosystems. Storms create disturbances through high winds and heavy precipitation, altering forest structure. These disturbances create opportunities for new species to colonize and thrive. Ecosystem resilience refers to the ability of an ecosystem to recover from disturbances. Resilient ecosystems maintain their essential functions even after significant disruptions. Disturbances can include natural events such as fires, floods, and droughts, or human-induced impacts like pollution and deforestation. The capacity for recovery ensures the long-term health and stability of the environment. Threshold effects describe abrupt changes in ecosystems when critical limits are exceeded. Ecosystems can exhibit sudden and dramatic shifts when thresholds are reached. These abrupt changes can lead to irreversible damage and ecosystem collapse. Thresholds are often related to environmental factors like temperature, pollution, or resource availability. Understanding threshold effects is crucial for effective environmental management and conservation. Crossing a threshold can lead to a new stable state that is significantly different from the original. Feedback loops regulate ecosystem processes by either amplifying or dampening changes. Positive feedback loops enhance initial changes, leading to exponential growth or decline. Negative feedback loops counteract initial changes, maintaining stability and equilibrium within the ecosystem. Ecosystem stability relies on the balance between positive and negative feedback loops. An imbalance in feedback loops can lead to ecosystem disruption and instability. Understanding feedback loops is crucial for predicting and managing ecosystem dynamics. Computer models are used to simulate ecosystem dynamics. These simulations allow for the prediction of future changes within ecosystems. Simulations can model complex interactions between species and their environment, Environmental factors, such as climate change, can be incorporated into ecosystem models. Computer simulations provide a cost-effective and ethical way to study ecosystems without disturbing the natural environment. The accuracy of ecosystem models depends on the quality and quantity of input data. Scenario planning explores different possible futures for ecosystems. Different management strategies can significantly alter the trajectory of ecosystem development. Scenario planning aids in understanding the potential consequences of various management decisions. This process helps to inform and optimize strategies for sustainable ecosystem management. Adaptive management involves adjusting strategies based on monitoring and evaluation. The process begins with setting clear management objectives and defining measurable indicators. Monitoring provides data on the effectiveness of current management strategies. Evaluation analyzes the monitoring data to assess progress towards objectives. Based on the evaluation, management strategies are adjusted to improve performance. This iterative cycle of monitoring, evaluation, and adjustment leads to continuous improvement. Ecological communities involve complex interactions between different species. Competition occurs when species vie for the same limited resources. Predation involves one species, the predator, consuming another, the prey. Mutualism benefits both interacting species, while commensalism benefits one species without affecting the other. Population growth is influenced by birth rates, which represent the number of new individuals added to the population. Death rates, conversely, decrease population size by removing individuals from the population. Immigration, the influx of individuals from other areas, contributes to population growth. Emigration, the outflow of individuals to other areas, reduces population size. These four factors, birth rates, death rates, immigration, and emigration, collectively determine population dynamics and regulation. Carrying capacity refers to the maximum population size an environment can sustain indefinitely, given available resources. Resource availability, such as food, water, and shelter, directly limits population growth. When a population exceeds its carrying capacity, resources become depleted, leading to population decline. Carrying capacity is a dynamic measure, influenced by environmental changes and resource management. Density-dependent population regulation is influenced by factors such as competition for resources. Predation is a key density-dependent factor that regulates population size. Disease outbreaks can also act as density-dependent mechanisms, impacting population growth. High population density increases competition, predation risk, and disease transmission. These density-dependent mechanisms collectively regulate population size, preventing exponential growth. The age structure of a population significantly influences its potential for growth or decline. Populations with a larger proportion of young individuals tend to experience rapid growth. Conversely, populations with a larger proportion of older individuals may experience slower growth or decline. Stable population structures maintain a relatively even distribution across age groups, leading to balanced growth. The sex ratio in a population significantly influences its reproductive potential. A skewed sex ratio can limit the number of potential offspring. An excess of one sex may lead to increased competition for mates and reduced breeding success. Balanced sex ratios generally promote optimal population growth rates. Environmental factors and selective pressures can alter sex ratios in populations. Understanding sex ratios is crucial for effective population management and conservation efforts. Metapopulations describe spatially separated populations of the same species that interact at some level. These local populations occupy discrete habitat patches and are connected by migration. Habitat fragmentation leads to the formation of metapopulations. The dynamics of a metapopulation depend on colonization and extinction rates within patches. Metapopulation dynamics are crucial for species persistence in changing environments. Source sink dynamics describe population flow between high-quality, source, and low-quality sink habitats. Source habitats exhibit high reproductive success and emigration, supporting populations in less productive sink habitats. Sink habitats cannot sustain populations without immigration from source habitats due to low reproductive success or high mortality. Understanding source sink dynamics is crucial for effective conservation and management of species. Island biogeography examines how island size affects species richness. Larger islands generally support a greater number of species due to increased habitat diversity and resource availability. The distance of an island from the mainland also influences species richness. Islands closer to the mainland tend to have higher immigration rates, leading to greater species richness. The equilibrium theory of island biogeography predicts a balance between immigration and extinction rates. Species richness on an island is a dynamic balance between immigration of new species and extinction of existing ones. Biodiversity tends to increase as latitude decreases towards the equator. The latitudinal biodiversity gradient illustrates the uneven distribution of species across the globe. Species richness is highest in tropical regions due to factors like increased solar energy and stable climates. Various hypotheses attempt to explain the latitudinal gradient, including evolutionary history and ecological factors. Understanding the latitudinal biodiversity gradient is crucial for conservation efforts and ecological research. Elevation gradients significantly influence the distribution of habitats and species. Habitat zonation is a direct consequence of changing environmental conditions along an elevation gradient. Temperature decreases with increasing elevation, affecting species' physiological tolerances. Precipitation patterns vary along elevation gradients, impacting vegetation types. Species diversity changes along elevation gradients due to varying habitat conditions. The distribution of species along elevation gradients reflects their adaptation to specific environmental niches. Environmental gradients influence species distributions by creating varying conditions across a landscape. Species adapt to specific ranges of environmental factors such as temperature and rainfall. Each species has a unique tolerance range for different environmental conditions. Species distribution patterns reflect the availability of suitable environmental conditions. Environmental gradients can create distinct ecological niches, supporting diverse communities. An ecological niche defines a species' role within its ecosystem. Each species occupies a unique niche, characterized by its specific resource utilization and interactions. The niche encompasses the physical and environmental conditions necessary for a species' survival and reproduction. Fundamental niche refers to the potential ecological space a species could inhabit. Realized niche represents the actual ecological space a species occupies, often smaller due to competition and other factors. Niche differentiation reduces competition and promotes species coexistence within an ecosystem. Competitive exclusion occurs when two species compete for the exact same limited resources. The principle of competitive exclusion suggests that only one species can occupy a specific niche in a given environment. Resource partitioning allows species to coexist by utilizing different resources or the same resources in different ways. Different species can partition resources by specializing in different food types, foraging times, or habitat locations. Resource partitioning reduces direct competition and promotes biodiversity within an ecosystem. Character displacement is an evolutionary process where differences among similar species are accentuated. This divergence reduces interspecific competition for resources. Character displacement leads to morphological or behavioral trait differences. Evolutionary divergence allows species to occupy different ecological niches. Keystone species play a critical role in maintaining the structure and stability of their ecosystems. The presence or absence of keystone species can dramatically alter ecosystem dynamics and biodiversity. Ecosystem engineers are keystone species that physically modify their environment, creating habitats for other species. The impact of keystone species is disproportionately large relative to their abundance or biomass. Loss of a keystone species can trigger a trophic cascade, leading to significant changes in the food web. Protecting keystone species is essential for conserving biodiversity and maintaining healthy, functioning ecosystems. Ecosystem engineers significantly modify habitats, creating or altering environments for other species. These modifications can influence resource availability and physical conditions within the ecosystem. Ecosystem engineers can be categorized based on their method of habitat modification, such as through physical structure creation. The presence of ecosystem engineers often leads to increased biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. Mutualistic interactions enhance the survival and reproductive success of participating species. These cooperative relationships provide benefits such as nutrient acquisition, protection from predators, or pollination services. Mutualism involves reciprocal benefits where each species experiences a net positive effect from the interaction. The evolutionary success of many species is closely linked to their involvement in mutualistic partnerships. Commensalism is an ecological interaction where one species benefits while the other is neither harmed nor helped. In commensal relationships, the benefiting species gains resources or advantages without impacting the host species. Commensalism differs from mutualism and parasitism, where both species benefit or one species benefits at the expense of the other, respectively. Examples of commensalism include epiphytes growing on trees and barnacles attaching to whales. The neutral species in a commensal relationship is unaffected in terms of resource availability, health, or survival. Parasitism is an exploitative relationship where one organism, the parasite, benefits at the expense of another, the host. Parasites obtain nutrients and resources from their hosts, often causing harm or disease. The host organism experiences negative effects, such as weakened immune system, tissue damage, or reduced reproductive success. Parasitic relationships can significantly impact the host's overall health and survival. Different types of parasites exist, including ectoparasites that live on the surface of the host and endoparasites that live inside the host. The exploitative nature of parasitism highlights the complex interactions within ecosystems. Ecosystem management requires a long-term perspective to address ongoing environmental changes. Understanding ecosystem dynamics necessitates considering extended timescales. Effective environmental stewardship involves anticipating future impacts on ecosystems. Long-term data collection and analysis are crucial for informed ecosystem management decisions. A sustainable future depends on adopting a long-term, holistic approach to ecosystem conservation. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you will be updated for more videos.